The last verse is very important. The first verse is a kind of a question. Usually, what we have seen that Arjuna is asking Krishna to seek a way out, a vision, so that he can come out of his questions and all the challenges that he has gone through in his thoughts because of perplexion that he was going through. And then when the Lord is explaining, then the further questions came, and then in that way we see the first is kind of an opener, and the last is a kind of summarization. It summarizes the essence of this chapter. Yeah, and sometimes we may have heard the shloka that ends in the chapter is called Charama uh, shloka, yeah, where it gives the essence of the whole chapter. So today let's take some time to understand. In Vaishnav tradition, we come across so many places, yeah, either from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and different Puranas, even Chaitan Charitamrita. There are some nice, very important chapters, especially for a devotee. Mm. Um, this, uh, yeah, we can see in Ramayana. Yeah, recently when we were going through this um, 7 day Ram Katha, and then we came to a very very important jewel. What is that? The 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 affirmation that Lord Ram, yeah, speaks out, so that may everyone know it and be blessed. What is that? When Vibhishan comes to the other side of the ocean, where Ram is there, there was this question whether Lord Ram should accept him or not. I think we also have this question, whether uh, Ram will accept us or not. Mm. Every time when we are doing bhakti, there is always this dilemma. I am a person having so many bad qualities. I have accumulated so many sins. Uh, will the Lord accept me? And the crux of whole Ramayana we can see in the Yuddha Kanda in that particular verse, 1834, where we see that the Lord Himself is saying, He is saying that if anyone surrenders to me even once, and that too not with a huge elaborate process, like going to a temple, mm, or performing some sacrifice, and no, even if one is saying, I am yours, this is what, if we wholeheartedly say to the Lord, then He is saying, I will protect that person in all circumstances. This is my promise. The Lord is not just saying, but He is even giving a promise. This is what. So, in one way, we can see that taking shelter of the Lord is the only means and sublime, very easy. So, saying that, Lord, I am yours, how difficult it is. It's not so difficult. So, this is also one of the Charma shlokas we can say from Ramayana. And then there is also in Varaha Puran, there is another Charma shlok. In that, in this particular one, Lord Varaha Swami is saying that the entire universe is my body. Neither birth nor death has any effect to his side, even if he has no control over his senses. So when one gives up, sorry, when one, I think there is someone on, need to go on mute. Mhm. Okay, let's continue. So in Varaha Puran, Lord Varaha Swami, he's saying this entire universe is my body, mm, and neither birth nor death has any effect on me. Mm. And when one gives oneself to me, this is also, what is it, Sharanagati. If one says, I surrender to you, mm, to Lord Varaha Swami, he is assuring us with what? You know what? With firm faith, if one does that, I think of him at the time of his death. So, which means maybe there is a chance that at the time of death we may not remember him. But Lord Varaha Swami, Varaha Dev is saying that I will remember at the time of his death. uh, and rush to him, to his side, even if he has no control over the senses, with his body appearing like a log or a stone. Uh, so, and I lead him then to my spiritual abode, where he performs eternal service to me. Mm. Second assurance. We can see Lord Varahaswamy. Lord himself is saying, if one surrenders to him, what is he going to benefit? He is going to benefit that even that person may forget, but the Lord will not forget him. And similarly, in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we can also see Sarva Dharma Parityamcha Mamekam Sharanam Raja. So there is saying, if you surrender to me, I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Another kind of assurance. So what is very important here is that at least people like me, I have hope because yeah, there might be moments that I may not want to surrender because of my own sinful thoughts, my own lower conditioning, my own propensities, my own circumstances, all these things. But if I will keep on trying to genuinely surrender to the Lord, hmm, the Lord assures. The Lord is saying, even Ravan, yeah, Ravan, who's a Rakshasa, and then Lord is saying, even if he comes and he doesn't even have to touch my feet. Hmm? Surrendering in the sense is so simple. Ram is saying, even if he holds my hand and if he's handing over Sita to me, I will forgive him and I will accept him. So this is the beauty. This is the beauty of Sharanagati. When we talk about Ramanujacharya, he has referred it Prapattis. Yeah, I don't know if you may be familiar. Uh, the Alvars and other saints in the lineage have written very extensively. Extensively, they have written, and Ramanujacharya uh, explores it briefly. All that into Sharanagati Gadyatrayam in the three sections. Hmm? And this is very much appreciated where how to approach the Lord. Uh, Not only that, even in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, Bhakti Vinod Thakur uh, offers a clear articulation. One can read his prayers, bhajans, are full of Sharanagati. Uh, how to develop this is very, very important. Why? Because if we go back to this chapter number 15, this chapter number 15, the last verse is explaining mainly that one has to become sinless to be able to go back to Godhead. And how can one become sinless? Huh? This is what Lord says in this. And let me see if I can open this and share the screen. Give me 1 second. Who would like to read, by the way? Mm,
May I, Prabhuji?
who's that?
Deennath, Prabhu.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. Proceed.
Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15.20. Iti guhya tamam shastram idam yuktam mayanaga etad buddhva buddhiman syat krita krityascha bharata. Translation. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures. O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Purport. The Lord clearly explains here that this is the substance of all revealed scriptures, and one should understand this as it is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, one will become intelligent and perfect in transcendental knowledge. In other words, by understanding this philosophy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engaging in his transcendental service, everyone can become freed from all contaminations of the modes of the material nature. Devotional service is a process of spiritual understanding. Wherever devotional service exists, the material contamination cannot coexist. Devotional service to the Lord and the Lord Himself are one and the same because they are spiritual. Devotional service takes place within the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord is said to be the sun, and ignorance is called darkness. Where the sun is present, there is no question of darkness. Therefore, whenever devotional service is present under the proper guidance of bona fide spiritual master, there is no question of ignorance. Everyone must take to this consciousness of Krishna and engage in devotional service to become intelligent and purified. Unless one comes to this position of understanding Krishna and engages in devotional service, however intelligent he may be in the estimation of some common man, he is not perfectly intelligent. The word Anaga, by which Arjuna is addressed, is significant. Anaga, O sinless one, means that unless one is free from all sinful reactions, it is very difficult to understand Krishna. One has to become free from all contamination, all sinful activities. Then he can understand. But devotional service is so pure and potent that once one is engaged in devotional service, he automatically comes to the stage of sinlessness. While one is performing devotional service in the association of pure devotees in full Krishna consciousness, there are certain things which require to be vanquished altogether. The most important thing one has to surmount is weakness of the heart. The first fall down is caused by the desire to lord it over material nature. Thus, one gives up the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord. The second weakness of the heart is that as one increases the propensity to lord it over material nature, he becomes attached to matter and the possession of matter. The problems of material existence are due to these weaknesses of the heart. In this chapter, the first five verses describe the process of freeing oneself from these weaknesses of heart, and the rest of the chapter, from the sixth verse through the end, discusses Purushottama Yoga. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 15th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Dinath Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So it is not just itiguhyam, but it is itiguhyam tamam, most confidential. Itiguhyam tamam shastram, idam uktam mayanaga. So it is disclosed. This most confidential knowledge can be disclosed only one who is sinless. Uh, so now the question is, okay, we are not yeah, and yeah, is this chapter for us? So Prabhupada in the purport is writing that this chapter is very, very important because in this chapter only there are three verses which is kind of summarizing the whole Bhagavad Gita. So to the ability, to the capacity, what we can understand by the references, by the blessings of the acharyas, we should nevertheless we should take it so that then we can become um, what do you call be on the track to become sinless. It's never going to happen that one day that we become sinless by no efforts. We have to put our endeavor. It's that's what is written here, right? Moreover, understands this will sorry, whoever understands this will become wise and his endeavors will become perfection. So we have to endeavor. And this chapter is very, very nice. Why? Because it is going to help us to understand that most important aspects. What is that? Uh, the important aspect is to become detached. When we talk about in the first chapter, in the first verse of Bhagavad Gita, uh, in the first chapter, first verse of Bhagavad Gita, there is about the same thing. Uh, it is to surrender. Hmm? Why? Because we are in the material world. This material world is, as we know, dukkhalayam ashashvatam, uh, and we need to become detached. If we don't get detached, then we continue to be attracted. We want to do our business in the material world. We think we have the most important business in this world. The more and more we think, the more and more we get entangled. The more and more we get entangled, the more and more we are caught up. And because of that, we don't have freedom to actually elevate to a higher position, or not even higher position, to our own position. What is that? We are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. We don't belong to this world. We belong to our spiritual world. Uh, we are because have the freedom to engage ourselves either in the spiritual energy or in material energy. Because of that, we have chosen to be in this material world. And this material world then is of all variegatedness. It has everything that looks quite realistic. Mm. But this is like a reflection of the reality. This is what we cannot have the taste of a honey out from licking outside, licking from the outside of the bottle. Though it might look the honey is there outside, but reality is the honey is only inside. The nectar is inside the bottle. Similarly, this might look there is a sense of opportunity of enjoyment, but actually this kind of enjoyment that we are seeing is not real enjoyment because karshati, prakristani karshati, this material nature is a place where it is going to actually correct our propensities, which means it is going to force us. Though we are thinking this will be the place of happiness, it will teach us no, this is not the place of happiness. Rather, no, we have to get detached. Uh, so this is not our home. We have to go back to our spiritual world. That is our home, and we should understand. We should avoid pitfall of considering the material world as our home, and actually use it as a pit stop. We know that we may know that when there's a Formula One, um, there is a pit stop, yeah, where the car is taken side, and then what it does, it's fueled. It is very quickly whatever necessary things need to be done, it is done, and it doesn't stay there. Satish Prabhu, uh, we know that it doesn't stay. The car again is pulled onto the track, and then it goes on. So ideally. Uh, we have to refill, we have to purify, we have to do whatever so that our main goal is to again go back. So we should use the world, material world, for transformation. We cannot think that I am perfect. We cannot think that I know everything. We cannot think that I have everything. We should never think that I am um, to be accepted as it is. Uh, no, we have to understand our limitations and we have to understand to take up to the process. As long as we delay, we should remember that we are going to suffer that long. So the sooner the better. The sooner we take onto the path, the sooner that we pick up and rectify our propensities mm, through rectification, uh, through transformation, then we can actually transmigrate. But this transmigration is not just happening by the laws of nature that, okay, from one species to the other species, from a lower species to the higher species. And no, we are not talking about this transmigration within this material world into different species, but we're talking about transmigration above the material limits, which is to the spiritual world. And we cannot do it alone. The beauty of this chapter, Purushottama Yoga, is telling us how can we even attain. The first five chapters, yeah, are telling about um, mm, how to free up ones from these weaknesses, and the remaining 15 chapters are telling about the Purushottama Yoga, how to attain it. So we cannot do alone. So we have to take shelter of the Lord. Uh, who is that Lord? When we know His greatness, then we appreciate, He is the Lord. Uh, Otherwise, we can someone go on mute? I don't know if someone is still there. Thank you. So we should understand, by understanding His greatness, He is a maintainer. Without Him, nothing can happen. Even the very air that we are breathing, the water that we are drinking, the body that we are, everything, the digestion power, uh, the fruits, the vegetables, the things, sources for our sustenance, everything is provided by the Lord. So we understand that He is the one whom, if I take shelter, then I am attaining perfection. uh, and the other form that we can see the Lord is that He is our maintainer. You know, not only this body, but also a maintainer of our proper thoughts. mm. He has compiled Vedanta. He's the Veda and also the knower of Vedas. So it is not that okay, the Vedas are there so that one can engage in the Vedic rituals so that they can continue to be in the mode of goodness. No, no, actually, the purpose of Vedas is ultimately to know who is the object of Vedas. It is the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. So all this knowledge of attaining Purushottama is mentioned in this chapter. In that way, this chapter is very, very important. Yeah? And then this chapter is to be understood that it one has to apply practically. Because um, the result of it is one becomes free from this. He goes back to the spiritual world where he can always engage in service. And what is that? Devotional service without any sin. This is usually our challenge. We are trying, we are thinking about the Lord, we are serving the Lord, but no, no. Uh, by taking to this knowledge, which is the essence of the Vedas, Vedanta Sutra, so one will become intelligent and perfect in transcendental knowledge. He will be free from all contaminations. mm. Devotional service and the Lord are one and the same. This is the understanding one can get. Huh? And then uh, everyone who takes to this Krishna consciousness, devotional service, become intelligent and purified and become successful. This is the conclusion. Uh, Whenever devotional service is present under proper guidance of a spiritual master, there is no question of ignorance. So, this chapter is very, very important before we actually go into the next chapter, which is the divine and demonic natures. Uh, and if we refer to this 15:15, let me quickly check. Are you still seeing my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
hmm So if you see here, yeah, the Lord helps us. How? Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishta matta smriti gnanam apohanam cha vedeshcha sarver ahameva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. This is very, very important. If we remember this, we always have a lot of hope. We have always courage to walk on this path. Mm. He's saying the Lord is not elsewhere. He is there. I am seated in everyone's heart. And from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Uh, so if we want to remember the Lord, who can give that capacity? It is the Lord Himself. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. What is the object of the Vedas? Mm? Vedavit, the Lord. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of Vedas. So this is the important verse. Yeah, there are these three verses, right? 15, 16, 17, I think. Uh, yeah, no, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, we have from here. Yeah, the next verses are the summary. Mm. This is what he's saying. There are two classes of beings: the fallible, infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is infallible. This is absolute truth. Summary. uh, Uttama Purushatva Anya. So, besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, mm, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. So, the previous verse was for Jivatmas, this is for Paramatma. And then, because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as the Supreme Person. Purushottama Yoga. Why this chapter is called Purushottama Yoga? Uh, it is the Lord is clearly declaring who is the Purushottama. Hmm? Uh, Pratita, uh, not ordinary, Pratita Purushottama. So this way we can understand the potency of this particular chapter and attain. Hmm. Seek blessings to understand this. Take to Bhagavad Gita because this is the crest jewel summary understanding of all the Vedas, Vedantas, mm, and very easily under the guidance of a spiritual master attain perfection. Thank you. Any questions? Someone want to share something, add something? If not, I can give you 25 minutes back. Otherwise, if someone want to share something, feel free. Are we having any important dates coming up or yes, no? Hare Krishna. I think everyone were at shock, na? How could the session happen so quickly?
Important date means, yeah, Janu Saptami is coming and Jaladana will end. Nitya Jaladana.
What Saptami? Janu Saptami is coming.
Janu
Okay.
Saptami and Srimati Sita Devi, like, concert of
Advaita.
Lord Shri parents is there.
Okay. Then there is also Narasimha Chaturdasi, right? When
Yes,
is it?
yes. Yeah, it is on 22nd. Yeah, 22nd in Germany.
In June or
May.
in May, na?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, stay tuned. Okay. If there are no questions, then have a nice Sunday. Talk to you. Hare Krishna. पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.